How often should older adults really engage in sexual activity? Is there a magic number for happiness, health, or emotional connection? You might be surprised by what recent studies have uncovered. Stick with me until the end, because I'll reveal a little-known insight that might completely shift how you view intimacy in later life. Society often overlooks or even dismisses the idea of older people maintaining an active sex life, almost as if it's something we're meant to leave behind. But here's the truth. Intimacy doesn't come with an expiration date. In fact, science is showing us that staying sexually active in our later years can provide real benefits for both mental and physical well-being. Still, one question keeps coming up. How much is considered normal or healthy? Should older adults aim for sex once a week, once a month, or simply whenever the mood is right? In this video, let's dive into what the research actually says, bust a few myths, and discover the real answer to how often older people should be having sex. The importance of intimacy as we age. First off, let's discuss why it's so crucial to maintain intimacy as we age. We've all heard those myths. You become too old for sex, it's just not the same anymore. But in reality, the advantages of sex don't diminish as we get older. They actually increase in some areas of life. I can assure you that maintaining an active sex life into your later years does wonders for both your physical and emotional well-being. To begin, let's talk about the physical advantages of sex. Regular sex can help lower your risk of heart disease. Studies show that sexual activity can function like exercise by elevating your heart rate and enhancing blood circulation. Now, I'm not suggesting it can replace a gym workout, but keeping your cardiovascular system healthy through intimate activity does contribute toward your overall wellness. Also, it stimulates the release of endorphins, the feel-good chemicals in the brain that can reduce stress, decrease pain, and enhance your mood. Let's not ignore about sleep. Many older adults struggle with sleep issues, particularly as we age. But a genuine sexual connection like physical intimacy releases oxytocin and promotes relaxation. It helps manage feelings of anxiety, which might otherwise keep you tossing and turning at night. Whether it's your partner's touch or simply the act of embracing, it's going to help release the tension accumulated in your muscles and help you rest peacefully. Mental health benefits. Perhaps one of the most significant benefits is the improvement in your mental health. So much of what we experience as we grow older centers around managing anxiety, isolation, and depression. Research indicates that older adults who are sexually active often experience reduced rates of depression and anxiety. There's something about feeling desired and connected, and the intimacy that stems from a fulfilling sexual relationship helps remind us that we're still vibrant, still relevant, still alive. What about cognitive health? You may have heard people mention things like, there's a memory linked to sex, or sex is beneficial for your mind, and it turns out they were correct. Studies have indicated that sexual activity actually activates certain parts of the brain. Engaging in physical intimacy can strengthen neural connections and consequently may help prevent conditions like Alzheimer's and other age-related cognitive decline. Essentially, your brain is being exercised, providing you with both cognitive and emotional clarity. We all understand the emotional benefits. Physical closeness with your partner enhances your feelings of connectedness. This isn't just about romance, it's about realizing that someone out there believes you are special, that someone values you and desires you. The emotional fulfillment of having an intimate relationship with your partner offers tremendous support, especially as life can become more complicated with age. You don't just feel connected physically, but emotionally, spiritually even, because sex is an extension of your love and trust for one another. That connection over time can evolve into a sense of emotional well-being and development. How often should I have sex? All right, we're approaching the core of the question, how much sex should I be having? And I know you're probably anticipating some solid, definitive answer, right? Well, here's the reality. There's no universal solution when it comes to how often older people should be having sex. What matters more than the frequency is how connected you feel with your partner and how satisfying the experience is for both of you. But that said, let's examine the research for some guidance. One key aspect we have to remember is that there are studies like those performed by the National Library of Medicine showing a consistent relationship between regular sex and improved overall health outcomes. A study on older adults ages 65 and up discovered that those who had sex once a week were more likely to report being happier and more content with their overall lives, including their relationships. But, and this is important, it's not the number of times a week, but the experience itself that matters the most. And while weekly sex seems like a happy medium, the studies also indicate that couples who have sex less frequently still report being very satisfied emotionally and physically. This gets to the essence of why there isn't really an ideal number. You have to understand what works for you. Some couples may feel fulfilled with monthly intimacy. Others may prefer to maintain that connection alive with more frequent touch and closeness, or even casual intimate moments of affection without complete intercourse. Here's something fascinating. As people age, many report that sex often becomes less about performance and more about emotional connection and expressing love. When you remove the pressure of performing, which many of us experience in our youth, sex can transform into something much deeper. This mindset change has been shown to improve relationship satisfaction and increase frequency for some couples, as intimacy isn't just about meeting a certain quota, but rather connecting and simply enjoying the moment. Additionally, health plays a vital part in how often you'll feel inclined. Sex may decrease with things like joint pain, fatigue, or low energy, but that doesn't mean it needs to cease altogether. In fact, moderate sexual activity can actually combat these symptoms by increasing blood flow, improving flexibility, and even boosting energy levels over time. And if there are certain medical conditions present, discussing sexual activity with your doctor is essential. Some conditions may require special accommodations, but that shouldn't be a reason to abandon intimacy. Sex can still happen, just in a manner that suits your individual health and comfort. But let me remind you again, no matter how regularly it happens, what's most important is that you enjoy it. At this stage in life, there's no hurry to keep up with other people's ideas of what's normal. If you're satisfied with your sexual activity, whether it's once a week, once a month, or simply whenever you and your partner feel close, that's all that truly matters. In the end, it really is about feeling emotionally, mentally, and physically fulfilled with your partner, not about some societal expectation on frequency. The key here is that sex should remain a source of joy, connection, and health. Obstacles to intimacy and how to overcome them. As we've already mentioned, sex is vital for both physical and emotional well-being, but the reality is that for many older adults, obstacles can interfere. Health issues, feelings of self-consciousness, and even lifestyle factors can all create barriers to staying intimate. So let's break them down and discuss how we can overcome these challenges. Health concerns and mobility issues. One of the most frequent obstacles older adults face is health challenges. Mobility issues like arthritis, chronic pain, or even just being less physically flexible can make physical intimacy more challenging. If you're experiencing these difficulties, first of all, don't be discouraged. There are ways to work around them. Positioning becomes essential here. Try different sex positions that demand less movement or provide more comfort, like side-by-side or sitting positions. Many people find that adjusting the angle, adding pillows for support, or finding a position that doesn't strain joints or muscles helps improve comfort without sacrificing intimacy. There's no need to push through positions that don't feel good. Instead, focus on discovering alternatives that still allow you to be close and intimate. It's also worth noting that many people, especially women, experience dryness as they age, often due to hormonal changes or menopause. If this is affecting your sexual pleasure, there are many products available, from lubricants to vaginal moisturizers, that can make sex more comfortable. Again, don't be hesitant about exploring these solutions and discussing them with your partner. Mental and emotional barriers. In addition to the physical barriers, emotional and mental roadblocks can make it harder to connect intimately. Aging sometimes brings about changes in body image, self-esteem, and anxiety around intimacy. These feelings can sometimes prevent you from feeling confident or motivated to initiate sexual activity. It's common to feel like maybe I'm not attractive anymore, or what if I'm not pleasing my partner? To work through this, open communication is crucial. Talk honestly with your partner about your feelings, and trust me, you may be surprised by how they feel about you. A partner who values and loves you is focused on your connection, not the flaws you think you have. In fact, many people report feeling more confident and more connected during sex in later years because both partners have learned to embrace vulnerability. There's a wonderful intimacy that comes with sharing your thoughts, fears, and desires. Sometimes just talking openly can eliminate anxiety, create emotional closeness, and make the act of intimacy that much more meaningful. Psychological barriers and external stress. It's also easy for the stresses of daily life, like caring for a partner or managing other responsibilities, to interfere with having sex. Many older adults face feelings of depression or isolation. If you're feeling mentally exhausted, it's natural that sex may not be at the forefront of your mind. Overcoming these feelings requires a combination of internal work and external support. If you're experiencing ongoing sadness, anxiety, or other psychological burdens, speaking to a therapist or counselor may help. It can free you up to enjoy your intimate moments more freely without the weight of past stress. Don't forget, you are worthy of pleasure and you deserve connection, no matter where you are in life. The power of emotional intimacy. Now let's explore something often overlooked: the powerful emotional side of intimacy. Sex for older adults isn't just about physical pleasure, it's a profound expression of love, care, and connection with a partner. We cannot underestimate how critical emotional intimacy is to our overall well-being. The effects on our self-esteem and sense of belonging are immense. As we age, many of us experience various shifts in relationships, either due to circumstances or health, or perhaps simply because of the life changes we've undergone. The need for physical closeness can deepen as we navigate these challenges. So let's talk about what emotional intimacy accomplishes and how it enriches our lives. Trust and connection. In your earlier years, sex might have been about passion, appearance, or excitement. But as you get older, intimacy can become an emotional foundation. One of the most beautiful aspects of older age is knowing who you are and feeling comfortable in your skin. The best intimacy at this point is about trust, connection, and truly understanding one another mentally and emotionally. This is when sexual intimacy transcends just physical satisfaction and becomes an expression of the love and affection you have for one another. You're not concerned about impressing anyone or performing. You're simply enjoying the company of someone you've chosen to share your life with. In fact, many people say that sex in later years can be richer because it focuses on sharing moments of vulnerability and emotional closeness with someone you love. There's something so unique about knowing each other intimately, not just in a physical sense, but emotionally and spiritually too. Those little things, like holding hands, looking into your partner's eyes, or enjoying quiet moments together before intimacy, create powerful bonds that contribute to a more joyful and intimate experience. Love and vulnerability. It's also been shown that older adults who maintain a sex life have stronger emotional bonds. These couples report a greater sense of security and a stronger, lasting relationship, something that contributes not just to their romantic life, but also their overall happiness and life satisfaction. And let's talk about something else incredibly important: feeling desired. We all want to feel like we're wanted, no matter our age. Physical intimacy keeps the spark alive, yes, but it's that desire, that affectionate touch, that reaffirms you're still valued. Studies show that people in long-term relationships tend to experience stronger bonds when intimacy and affection are fostered regularly. Even if sexual activity changes, moments of affection like kissing, cuddling, and gentle touching often strengthen the emotional closeness. It's these little acts of love that convey deep feelings of being wanted and cared for, and that's what sustains emotional closeness long into older years. Connection beyond sex. Lastly, don't think that intimacy has to only look one way. Some older adults who no longer have a traditional sexual connection still report incredibly fulfilling relationships simply by maintaining close, loving touch or sharing romantic moments. What's truly vital is maintaining the emotional connection, whether it's through sex, hugging, or spending time together. That connection is what nourishes the heart, supports well-being, and promotes a healthy, active life. In other words, age is no barrier to what intimacy can bring to your life. It doesn't matter if it's frequent or infrequent. The emotional power of physical touch and love never disappears. There are many ways to keep your connection alive, and no matter what stage of life you're in, you absolutely deserve to feel that closeness, pleasure, and emotional fulfillment. Embracing your intimacy in later years. So here we are, understanding how important it is to stay connected, how often to engage in intimacy, and how we can work through challenges. But the most important message I want to leave with you today is this. Embrace your intimacy in later years. Age should never be something that diminishes your ability to have meaningful, loving, and fulfilling sexual experiences. Instead, it's a time to redefine what intimacy means to you. Reframe your expectations. Forget about any societal pressures to be youthful, to be as active as you were when you were younger. This is your time, your life. You get to establish your own standards of intimacy, and that's something to embrace. When you take the pressure off trying to perform like younger generations, you open the door to intimacy that feels more authentic and genuine. The beauty of this stage in life is that you're no longer concerned with comparison or perfection, but with the authenticity and connection that enriches your relationship. It's about feeling joy, closeness, and warmth with your partner. And that brings us to another crucial point. Never be afraid to communicate. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to be what your partner expects you to be sexually. But the truth is, honest, open communication only deepens intimacy. Talk openly with your partner about what feels good, what doesn't, or if there's anything you'd like to try. Share how you're feeling physically and emotionally. When both partners are attuned to each other's needs, intimacy flows more naturally and with greater depth. As we get older, our bodies inevitably change, and so too does our relationship to intimacy. But those changes don't have to be feared. They're simply a new chapter. In fact, some older adults say they've never had a better sex life than now, simply because they've reached a level of mutual understanding and comfort that fosters intimacy without self-judgment. It can actually become more fulfilling because it's not about impressing or rushing, it's about connection. Healthy aging and self-care. Another important aspect of maintaining intimacy is caring for yourself, both physically and mentally. Regular exercise and a balanced diet play an essential role in maintaining sexual health. Staying active helps improve flexibility and energy levels, which positively impacts your sex life. Along with consuming nutritious foods, doing strength training or low-impact exercises like swimming or yoga can keep the body agile and in a state where you feel good physically, emotionally, and sexually. Additionally, mental wellness is just as important. Sex doesn't have to be frequent to be fulfilling. What matters is that it happens when it feels right and that it is something you and your partner genuinely enjoy. Meditate, practice mindfulness, or engage in activities that help reduce stress. The less stress you carry, the more open you'll be to intimacy and the closer you'll feel to your partner. It's also essential to acknowledge and celebrate the changes that come with age. Instead of focusing on what's lost, there's power in acceptance and in recognizing your own beauty at every stage of life. Embrace yourself as the wonderful, experienced person you are, and don't let anyone convince you that you're not deserving of a joyful and active sex life. Remember, our sexual energy and confidence evolve in new ways as we grow older, and it can be incredibly fulfilling both emotionally and physically. Conclusion. So here's the bottom line. Keep that spark alive, not because society expects it, but because you and your partner deserve to feel connected. Intimacy doesn't have a finish line. It transforms, grows, and can deepen your bond in ways that bring more joy and meaning than ever before. Getting older shouldn't limit your right to feel cherished and wanted, whether you're having sex weekly, monthly, or simply enjoying tender moments of affection. The key is staying emotionally close, present, and full of care. And above all else, never feel pressured by outside opinions. What truly matters is that your connection feels honest, satisfying, and nurturing to both of you. So, how often should older adults be having sex? There's no strict rule, but what we do know from science and real-life stories is this. Stay close, communicate openly, and follow what feels natural for you. Intimacy should be a joy, not a task. Whether it's regular or spontaneous, the goal is to nurture that flame in a way that fits your life. Before you head out, I'd love to know your thoughts. How do you feel about intimacy as we get older? Share your experience in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more discussions like this.